Nothing like technical difficulties to start the day, Joe.
I was ready to go and everything, and then the Focusrite decided to take a crap, and I think it was a Windows update, so I'm gonna have to probably disconnect it, connect it
No, no,
back.
no, Joe. What ends up happening is everyone blames me for this.
No, it was
You
my
know?
fault. We had a tech difficulty.
No, Spurnandis is already on Twitter saying it's my fault, Joe.
Because they're so used to they're used to blaming you, but technical difficulties do happen. We just had
Yeah.
one right now with the driver update for the Focusrite, so we're good. I'll fix it.
Joe, we're learning more about the Spurs schedule. Exciting times.
Yeah, exciting times. It depends. I mean, you have both sides of the fence. Some fans are very upset. Some fans are with this. I mean, calling for a strategic pause to do kind of your own independent study on the effects that it's going to have on the city. I get
Yeah.
that, but why wasn't that called for in the very beginning when they were going to do the Project Marvel? That's some of the questions that we're going to debate about, you know?
Yeah, today we have our debate with Michael Karlis of the San Antonio Current. Can we lower the music a little bit? It's a little loud. I don't know if that's possible at all.
Yeah, I was lowering it.
Because it was kind of loud.
Yeah, no, I had it low.
We're going to have a spirited debate.
Everybody's
Am I showing what side of Project Marvel I'm on by wearing this jersey, this Wemby jersey? The house that Wemby built?
Yeah. So here we go.
Area 210, where the dreams don't fade. From the river walk nights to the Alamo shade. We rise together through the highs and the lows. Area 210, it's the life that we chose.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Area 210 podcast. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. Today, we are debating the fate of Project Marvel. We're going to have Michael Karlis, a reporter who's been covering all things Project Marvel for the San Antonio Current. He'll join us in a few minutes. We're going to have a spirited debate as to what's going on with this whole scenario at City Hall. Earlier this week, the new mayor of San Antonio, Gina Ortiz Jones, trying to pump the brakes on it all, saying that she wants more independent studies to be done. Is she really stalling because she wants quote unquote due diligence, or is this her way of saying that she just doesn't support it at all? Because I have my beliefs when it comes to it all. Joe and I will have the time to spar 2-on-1 against Michael Karlis of the San Antonio Current. Before we get started on that, though, we're going to bring him on in a few minutes. Before we get started on that, some news involving the Spurs. The Spurs opening night opponent has been announced. I believe it's October 22nd, a Wednesday, taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Only the second time in NBA history you're going to have the number 1 overall pick in the draft take on the number 2 overall pick in the draft on opening night to start their careers. Dylan Harper of the Spurs taking on Cooper Flagg of the Mavericks. That's going to be fun to watch. We're excited about that. Again, this show, Area 210 Podcast, is powered by P.F. Chang's La Cantera, our chat on the right-hand side. People asking questions. You can ask all the questions you want as part of this debate. You guys can help become the moderators when it comes to it all. Again, Wednesdays, they have half-off wine and champagne over at P.F. Chang's La Cantera. Half-price wine bottles and champagne bottles. Happy hour every day from 3 to 6. So very nice, Joe. But we have a guest, and tell me when he's ready to go. We're going to have...
waiting for him to join us. He came in, then he left, so... Just need to come back in.
So we'll have him back on. But before we bring him on, let's hear what the mayor had to say, because a couple of things that have happened over the past few days. Past few days was this. She tried pumping the brakes. City Council said, nah, we're good. We're going to keep moving forward. They overruled her. There are a couple of City Council members, predominantly on the east side and the west side, who are saying that there's inequities involved in all of this and are kind of upset about it all. You've had the San Antonio Express News editorial board, which is typically pretty liberal, come out in support of Project Marvel. You've had several city council members write op-eds about this whole scenario, saying that they also support this. So why is Gina Ortiz Jones, the new mayor of San Antonio, trying to slow things down? Let's hear what she had to say. This is courtesy of Ken's 5 TV, courtesy of Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs at JFG Spurs Zone. Let's hear what the mayor had to say about what she's thinking right now and about the future prospects of Project Marvel.
Actually, let me back up too. Some of this is informed by two things that I heard quite a bit of on the trail, right? Which is one, San Antonio is the 7th largest city in the country. We need to start acting like it. One. Two, we need to address the persistent poverty in our community. I can't think of two better reasons to take a strategic pause on this until we have all of the data and can really lay out for our community the costs, the benefits of not only the potential new Spurs arena, but this overall endeavor. As we've talked about, this is a generational investment. We have an opportunity to use it to address our generational inequities, but we have to take advantage of that opportunity. And I think we do that best by doing our due diligence. Because again, the people of San Antonio will not vote on whether or not they have a new Spurs arena. They are entrusting the city council to make sure that we do our due diligence in aspects of this. And frankly, also help them understand what it means for other things. What does this mean for the upcoming bond project, right? What does this mean in general for downtown? And how have we understood that these projects are in fact the highest and best value for the community? So, and look, the good thing is we have the time to do this. The county, is limited in their ability to call for an election, like as the one that they did. They can only do that once a year. We are not limited in that same way. And I understand, the county has done their calculus, and 311 is what they feel comfortable putting forward. As a reminder, they do not have a community benefits agreement. They did not negotiate one of those. So we are in a different spot because we are looking at this not only in the context of the deal for itself, how the financing for the arena, as well, though, as the other projects that are dependent on how much money, for example, may be allotted from the PFC.
There you go, Mike.
Yeah, that is the mayor of San Antonio, Gina Ortiz Jones,
and we got our guest waiting.
Sam Salinas on our chat, powered by PF Chang's La Cantera, said buzzword after buzzword. And before we bring our guest on, which is Michael Karlis of the San Antonio Current, who's been following this, and I suggest that you follow him not only on Twitter, but you also follow him on the Current, and they do a lot of good community reporting out there, a lot of op-ed pieces and things like that. But Sam Salinas on our YouTube stream, our chat powered by PF Chang's La Cantera, saying buzzword after buzzword. This is why I posted on Twitter early this morning that I believe that she will never be supportive of Project Marvel.
No.
She may never have said that. She has not said that, but you could read between the lines because she used the phrase strategic pause. What I heard on the trail, she used the phrase generational inequities. What that has anything to do with a basketball arena and a downtown development, I have no idea. Talking about the deal for itself and wanting to have an independent this, that, and the other. Now, I get that. I get some of that, right? But to me, it sounds like she's not ever going to be supportive of this deal, and it's the job of city council to railroad her. It's a job of city council because they all have one vote each to basically just say, sit this one out, Gina.
Yeah.
We've had Mayor Ron Nirenberg, who just stepped down, right, after several terms in office, multiple terms in office, rather, who's now still supportive, full steam ahead. Former Mayor Henry Cisneros talking about this. And it's funny because right now it almost appears as though city council's looking at Mayor Ortiz Jones and saying, we're just going to bypass you when it's all said and done. Now, one of the biggest critics of all this has been Michael Karlis of the San Antonio Current. He has voiced his concerns about the way that Project Marvel has unfolded and has been developing. We're going to bring him on right now, have a nice spirited debate. And if it gets ugly, well, then it gets ugly.
Yeah. Let's bring him on.
Let's bring him on.
Hey, Michael, we have your cameras like kind of off. You're sideways here. If you can kind of turn it the other way. Oh, you had it right. There you go.
There you go. But it won't. Damn, it won't. I hate this thing. And give me a second here.
He's like, we'll figure it out. We've had nothing but technical difficulties today, so you fit right in today.
Very nice. I like the washing machine effect that he has going on
Yeah.
with this. But Michael
Ah,
Karlis,
there we go.
There you go.
we dig the fit, man. The Fred's fish fry
Oh,
fit.
of course. I remember that whole debacle. That was yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, it's great to be here, guys. I'm a big fan of the show. I think this is the best sports talk in town. So thanks for having me on.
Now you've been
Yeah.
pretty critical. Well, by the way, you've also been to our events, so you're not only a subscriber of this podcast, but you've also been to the events. I remember you went to the draft party that we had at Pete's Place in Helotes about a year and a half ago. You've been very critical about Project Marvel. Maybe it's because you have a Kevin Garnett jersey behind you. I don't know. Okay. But what is your main gripe with when it comes to it all? Why are you being a buzzkill when it comes to Project Marvel?
So I'm not against Project Marvel. I'm not against a new Spurs arena. If the Spurs want a new arena, give it to them if the city can afford it. And right now, it's not clear whether the city can actually put up the money for a new arena and then fund everything else that has to be paid for. And this is kind of what the mayor's getting at. You have 14 flood projects that have to be done in San Antonio. That's $400 million. You have a lot of federal cuts coming down from Washington that the city's going to have to make up. That's going to be what? That could be anywhere from another 100 million to another 300 million. And then you have to also remember it's not just the arena, the city's also on the hook for that $200 million infrastructure bond. So, I heard you say last week, oh, well, it's $500 million. It's already earmarked. Well, it's more like $700 million. And it's not totally hashed out where that money's going to come from.
Okay, so the hotel motel tax or whatever it's called, that's kind of the nickname for it all. It has a different technical name when it comes to it all. Correct me if I'm wrong, that pays for the bulk of it. If it is in fact 700 billion, that does pay for the bulk of it, and that's usually coming from tourists. People who rent a hotel room, rent a car, things like that it comes from tourists. What's the problem with saying, hey, look, that's coming from tourist money. That's not coming from San Antonio necessarily. The
So
majority of
that's
it
not
anyway.
where so that's not where the city's funding is coming from. So you have three entities that are paying for this arena. You have the Spurs at 500 million, the county at a 311 million, which voters are going to vote on in November. And then the city's funding is actually primarily coming from this thing called the tax increment reinvestment zone, or a TERS. And so how that theory works is that the property tax revenue from the surrounding development is going to pay for the arena. But the city still has to issue that bond before it's recouped through those property taxes. And if the property taxes don't turn out to be as high as the city hopes, then the city's on the hook for that missing gap.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. Would you consider it to be Project Marvel a sure thing as far as being able to generate said revenue? I was watching earlier today a story about what happened in Atlanta with the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves are making a ton of money. The city of Atlanta making a ton of money based on the sports district that they created there with the Atlanta Braves new facility and all of their the Atlanta Hawks, and it all kind of comes together in a downtown district. They have seen success. You can look over at Atlanta and see that success. You can look over at Philadelphia and see that success. Why would it not be successful in San Antonio if we're doing
Don't forget Maryland
basically the
either.
same thing?
Maryland has a good sports district as well by their harbor. I've been there before. It's
Denver
really
does
nice.
too. I've been to
Really
Denver's,
nice.
been to Dallas's. Why would it not be successful if it's been successful everywhere else?
Because I don't see how you. So right now we're just talking about the arena. So I know how it's been framed in the media that we're talking about everything else. We're really just talking about paying for the arena. If the city puts up the money for the arena, combined with the county, you're kind of tapped out. So the convention center, the land bridge, the concert arena, I don't see how you pay for the rest of it. There's $2.5 billion that city council is going to get from the state, and that's their share of the visitors tax that's going back to the city. So after the arena, you only have $2.5 billion left to build out everything else. So I think they said the convention center is a priority. That's probably $1 billion. And then the Alamo Dome, that's another $1 billion. And then so where's the rest of this economic? Where's the rest of the money coming from?
Well, the Spurs have pledged $1.06 billion toward it, 500 million towards the arena itself, 500 towards supportive things around it, 60 million towards community efforts and things like that. They've also pledged to do the overage, that if it costs more than a certain dollar amount, that they would be on the hook for that. So when I say that it's a fixed cost, whether it be 311 million for the county, 500 for the city, 700 for the city, whatever, if the Spurs are pledging the overage, are you saying that that's all nonsense?
Well, okay, that $500 million in surrounding economic development that the Spurs are pledging for. If you have $500 million laying around, why don't you just pay for the arena?
Because they want a district.
Okay, but the city's in a kind of financially precarious situation. I mean, that's why
Because
Mayor Jones, just for the record, she's not saying no Project Marvel. All she's really asking for right
she's
now.
code wording it, dude. She's
No,
code wording
she's
it.
not. She just wants a second opinion. And you always get a second
Oh,
opinion. Always get a second opinion. If you're buying a house, Mike, do you use the inspector that the realtor hires before you
oh,
purchase the house?
absolutely not. You know this, Michael.
Absolutely not. And that's what Mayor Jones is saying. CSL International inadvertently is owned by a partner that owns the Spurs.
20% ownership owner of it all. But let me ask you this though. How are we going to believe the one that she brings? Why would we
Well,
bring the one that because she's being selective as to the one that she brings, right? So it could be one who has ties to other things that she believes politically. Why are we to believe the one that she brings to the table, not the one that the Spurs bring to the table?
because it's not owned by the Spurs.
But
I
if it's
mean,
but if they're politically tied together, then they're owned by the same entity, the
so what
DNC.
if you're saying the consulting firm she brings in is politically tied to her somehow?
It could be, or politically tied to her party, or
I,
politically tied to whatever. It can be. You're telling me that she can't play politics?
It gets messy, but here's the thing, okay? Like, I understand the independent study, the survey that she wants. I get that. But if that was, let's say, the wishes of the city council, why wasn't that done at the very beginning stages of Project Marvel? Why
well,
didn't the city do that?
because it's a different council, right? We had an election, a couple
Yeah,
people turned out, you got some new people in there,
new mayor.
um, new mayor, right?
Yeah.
So that's why this is so this has turned into the situation that we have, is because you have the people that were already there, the incumbents, the Mark Whites, the Phyllis Viagrans, who are saying, we already figured this out, this is the way we're going. And now you have a new mayor saying, I wasn't privy to these previous discussions. I think we should get a second opinion. As far as the strategic pause goes, she's supposed to call me later today, the mayor, to define what she means by a strategic pause, because nobody really knows what exactly she's proposing as far as that goes. But as far as the second opinion, I mean, why would you not want just get another analysis? I mean, why is that such a terrible thing? She's not saying no arena. She's just saying let's get another analysis done.
Well,
But the
you could.
problem I was going to
Yeah,
ask right now, I was going to rebuttal here with the, I guess everything going on is that you have Gina Ortiz Jones, the new mayor, and the council themselves kind of going back and forth, kind of not seeing eye to eye on things. But the problem is that Gina Ortiz Jones, she can't enforce her will. It has to be voted on by the council. There has to be a majority vote. And no matter how much she would want to go ahead and put a pause on things and have her own independent survey done, it has to be voted upon by everybody. It just can't be like, oh, I'm going to put a pause on this and we're going to go ahead and just hit the reset button real quick until that survey comes in. It doesn't work like that. And I think she's just voicing her concern. But at the end of the day, it's up to the council to decide whether they want to go ahead and have that strategic pause take place or vote no and move forward.
And Joe, I think you're correct. I was trying to get an answer from Eric Walsh's office yesterday, because she said during that press conference, I don't need council's support to go get a second economic impact study done. So I emailed Eric. I was like, hey, what's going on with this? And they didn't respond. They just sent me back this kind of canned message. So I think you're right that she needs the support of council, but I'm not positive, and I can't seem to get a clear answer
Yeah, because I think it was
on
like a
that.
7-4 vote in favor of moving forward with Project Marvel. I mean, she can go ahead and still do her independent study, but it's not going to put that strategic pause that she wants on Project Marvel. They're still going to move forward. She can bring the results of that independent survey or whatever at a later date, but it's not going to put a pause on things if the council votes to move forward with Project Marvel, which is what I'm believing what will happen. But again, you're going to have the bickering back and forth every time Project Marvel comes up, and much to the dismay of Spurs fans, they're kind of, I guess, on edge because they're wondering what does that mean for the future of the team, because they're the only professional sports team that we have in this city, and if they're not, happy with the way things are going, they didn't decide to move. What do you think? What can you tell Spurs fans to kind of cull the waters right now?
I don't think the Spurs are going anywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
relocation takes years. It's a huge undertaking. People keep saying, "Oh, well, they're going to move to Austin." Austin's a horrible sports market to move to. First of all, you got to fight UT, which they don't. They own that market. They don't want any other teams coming in. Second of all, it's a transient city, so everyone in Austin is coming from somewhere else, and they already have the teams that they support. So I think Austin's out of the question. Vegas, okay, Vegas is scary, but it takes like 3 to 5 years to get something done because you
Yeah.
got to get something done with Vegas. You got to get it approved by the league. And then you would probably have to buy out your lease at the Frost Bank Center. So I think this idea that the Spurs are going to relocate if this isn't done by August 21st, I think that's fear mongering, and I don't think that's a good
Yeah.
faith argument. I
Yeah,
don't think it's in the realm of reality.
I don't think people are believing in her heart of hearts that the Spurs are going to leave if nothing happens by August 21st. I get you on that. But I am still the victim of the Houston Oilers from 1997
All
when
right.
the city of Houston, a much larger, more affluent city in Texas, lost their NFL team to the city of Memphis and then relocated to Nashville from there on. We've seen teams like the Montreal Expos. We've seen teams like the Seattle Supersonics who have all lost their team. And part of it is because they play chicken. The city tries to play chicken with them. And I told Joe that the Spurs are like a hot woman who cleans, cooks, is faithful, treats you right, is good to your family. And we're going to treat her like crap and pretend like there's not another suitor down the street. The Spurs are under contract to be at the Frost Bank Center until 2032. San Antonio Express News editorial board, which is slants pretty liberal, has been supportive of Project Marvel. They had their editorial board support it yesterday. Part of it was saying, hey, look, Frost Bank Center, the Spurs paid 15% of that stadium. The city and county paid the rest. 15%. Now here, they're willing to pay more than half of the project and any of the overage on top of it all. So
It-
what exactly is the problem here? If you want to have an NFL franchise or an NBA franchise or a Major League Baseball, you want to have professional sports, you have to act like a professional city. And the reason why I believe that Gina Ortiz Jones is talking out of her ass and lying to people about the roadblock that she's going to be and want to be is she used the phrase strategic pause, the things that she heard on the trail, and the generational inequities. When I heard her say the phrase generational inequities, I asked the question to myself, what the F does that have to do with the Spurs? What the F does that have to do with Project Marvel and revitalizing downtown? Absolutely nothing. Because guess what? There's a poor side of town in every major city in the United States. There forever will be. And if you had told me, Mike, that there were going to be certain districts that were going to be like butthurt about all this, I would have told you it was going to be the East Side District 2. I would have told you it would have been the West Side District 5. Oh, no crap. No crap. It's always the poor sides of town.
But you said San Antonio was poor as a city, Mike.
San Antonio is poor as a city, but you know what we got? We
my.
got 7 council members. We got 7 council members who are like, yeah, but we bleed black and silver, baby. That's what we do. Joe, Michael Karlis, this is all played out to form. It's played out to form. You've got the East Side that's pissed off because nothing was ever done with Frost Bank Center, and maybe they had the promises of something like that, but no one wants to go to the warehouse district on the East Side. You have the West Side complaining because, well, it's the West Side. I've traveled up and down there. We all know that HEB in Las Palmas is going to be junk after they revitalize it, because that's what happens. And then you have the super progressive mayor coming on in, who's the bleeding heart, who's going to come in and say, well, I heard this on the trail, generational equities. Why couldn't we use this money for poverty and all that stuff? Has nothing to do with poverty. It has everything to do with wanting to maintain an NBA franchise. I have no idea what they're doing. You know what? Get the recall going, Joe. We got to get the recall going, because you know what? This is stupidity. And if she loses the Spurs, whether it's 7 years from now, 10 years from now, that woman could never step foot in the 210, could never step foot in Bear County. She'd be dead to all of us, because the Spurs are the only thing that unites us. And you know what? East Side's against it? No shit. West Side's against it? No shit. They were going to be against it anyway. Move forward.
Mike,
And I'm glad the other council members.
Let's hit Michael.
Mike, let me ask you something. Do you really think if this thing is built out to scale, which I highly doubt it ever will be, do you think this will really lead to downtown economic revitalization?
Yes.
BS. It won't. People, what this is going to do is people are going to come down from the north side who can afford to go. They're going to go to the game. They're going to spend money inside the district. If you look at these districts, Sacramento is a good example. Most of the money is just spent in the immediate district. So the people in Southtown that think there's going to be a lot of revenue from this, they're probably not going to get it. No one's going to walk from Friendly Spot to the arena. It's just not how it's going to work. And it's not good. And this is the argument that I cannot stand. And this is something I am against, is at that meeting on August 6th, all these business people, all the Chamber of Commerce people coming to city council and saying, oh, well, if we just build this, all these corporations are going to move to San Antonio and we're going to be just like Austin and Dallas. That is BS. I want a list of all the Fortune 500 companies that relocate to San Antonio because you built a downtown basketball arena.
Mike, have you been?
That's
Mike,
you know,
have you been to the Pearl?
Yeah, I've been to the Pearl. I like the Pearl. That's something the city did very well.
What was there beforehand?
There was nothing, man.
No, there was hooker hotels. The Fox Motel got bulldozed in order to build the Pearl. And are people coming around? Are there not apartment complexes in that area that have been springing up in the Broadway area?
Say it like it was, Mike. What was that spot before? It was the skid mark of San Antonio before it became the Pearl.
It was a crap stain on the toilet paper of San Antonio. It really was. And the Pearl is now revitalized. And now the city, if you go back in time and go, would we want it back the old way, or we want it the way that it is now with the Pearl? We'd all say we want it to be like the Pearl. Nice restaurants. The shops are opening up over there. You have the apartment complexes, the condos that are going up, getting more tax revenue out of there. And yeah, it's true that people are coming in from the north side and from and Leon Springs and from Bernie to go over there. Yeah, that's true. But they're spending money there, staying at Hotel Emma. Would you rather have the Fox Motel or Hotel Emma? Okay, what would you rather have? The Institute of Texan Cultures and the Section 8 housing nearby, or Project Marvel?
Nobody went to the Texas Institute of Cultures anyway.
Yeah, my favorite part of the whole thing was they're like, we're going to fight to save it. It's a historical landmark. And the city was like, yeah, we're going to bulldoze this thing. It's not a historic pile of rubble. So for me to hear, look at what's going on downtown. The Alamo's getting a facelift, right? You know, it's getting the facelift of having it looking more like it used to back in the day. They're going to tear down Moses Rose's bar, which I really liked back in the day. They're going to tear down the Ripley's Believe It or Not, all that crap, and they're going to make it look normal, right? The way that it should have been. You have that. You have the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center. You have the Alamo Dome renovations. The Alamo Dome would be renovated by Project Marvel to make it look more attractive to things like bowl games and Final Fours and things like that. The park going over I-37 is to get people to go downtown and celebrate downtown, and it'd be a place for, can you imagine Fiesta on those grounds?
Who's paying for the park? Who's paying for that land bridge?
I'm sure the city is, but guess what?
The city, and this is
money to make money. I'd rather have that than potholes fixed on West Commerce. I want that done.
It's not going to get done, because, and this is the issue. The city is facing a $200 million plus budget deficit. You have priority projects that have to be done. Flood prevention, 13 people died a month ago or 2 months ago because those projects were not done. If the city pays for this, and it's more than $500 million, think of it like a credit card. The city's maxed out. So every other, it's going to be maxed out for probably 3 to 7 years. So if you need a free lunch program paid for by the city because there's federal cuts, there's not going to be money for it. If you need your sidewalks done, there's probably not going to be money for it.
That's
It's going to tie up so much money, and the city's really not in a great position right now to have all that money tied up in a basketball arena.
Then I guess the Spurs are gone eventually,
Well,
right?
they're not gone, but hey,
in 2032. Because here's the thing: they're not going to be playing at the Frost Bank Center in 2033. No matter how much she says,
that's
oh,
true.
they're going to be able to stay there longer, or whatever the case may be. Part of the whole thing of Project Marvel is the Spurs leaving behind a presence on the east side to revitalize the Freeman Coliseum, the Joe Harry Freeman Coliseum, to renovate the AT&T Center, now the Frost Bank Center, so that it's still viable and can be used, that it doesn't become like the Astrodome in Houston, a relic of the past that's never used, right? It's not going to be torn down. It's going to enhance what goes on with the rodeo. My thing about it is this: as a business person, guess what happens whenever business slows down? I spend more to make more. That's how you do it. You get out of it, right? And if the city is trying to drive up revenue, what do we do best in San Antonio? We are a great place to visit. We're a great place to visit downtown, the Riverwalk, and all that stuff. And you know what? San Antonio does a fantastic job. Look at people who go to the Final Four. They're not coming back anymore, but they come back. They said, what? San Antonio is our perfect destination. That was before Project Marvel. The perfect destination.
Well, now you're getting into a different argument. I mean, yeah, the city is a tourist town, and I would argue that's why it's, as you say, that's why it's a poor city, because we never really focused on any other industry. I mean,
that's a good argument. That's a good
Okay.
argument. That's a good argument. But the fact of the matter is that, the idea of, well, let's pump all this money into education. Okay, that's great. So that people, when I'm dead, are going to benefit from this.
Well, that's how it works. You got to build a base. I mean,
No, because all it takes is the new regime to kick in and say all the things that we were doing, we're not going to do. We'll pull the plug on that. We see that in the White House right now. Obama pulled the plug on Bush things. Trump pulled the plug on Obama things. Biden pulled the plug on Trump things, and whoever's going to be the next president after Trump's going to pull the plug on what he was doing. It doesn't stay the course.
So because we don't know what's going to happen in the future, we shouldn't try and improve that future, Mike.
I am saying there will always be a poor side of town. I don't want to be.
There will always be a poor side of town. There will always be a rich side of town. That's not just an American thing. That's around the globe.
Right.
All right. That's around the globe. The issue in San Antonio is that, as you said, the east side is poor, the south side is poor, and the west side is poor. It's unusual for 3/4 of a city to be poor.
I think south side's on the come up, though.
It's on the come up, yeah, but the poverty rate in the city is 18%. That's 6% higher than the national average. There's always going to be people with more than you, and there's always going to be people with less than you. The issue in San Antonio is that there's a lot of people with less than the high income earners. That's the problem.
I still have no idea what that and flood victims has to do with my Spurs.
The flood victims is because the city is going to have to pay for these projects. And the flood prevention is a higher priority than the basketball arena.
You don't care about people's lives, Mike?
No. Michael Karlis, bring that back. I'm sorry. The Spurs are more important to the city of San Antonio than some flood prevention. The flood prevention on the south side.
13 people died,
Yes.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike, bad.
Yeah.
Bad, Mike.
Hey, someone had to say it. Someone had to say it.
Oh, man, Mike.
Someone had to say it.
Those people that died were people's fathers, husbands, wives, daughters, sons, and it was a loss of life that didn't need to happen because they need more flood prevention for flash floods that happen all the time in San Antonio.
Joe, I am not empathetic towards them. I'm not saying that I'm.
You
not
sound
empathetic.
Like you are. You're being mean right now, Mike.
What I'm saying is, Joe, guess what? That was a sad story. And at the end of the day, the city of San Antonio would be more affected by the Spurs leaving than they would the 13 people who died. That is not politically
Mike.
correct to say.
You gave
But
him
you
a
know
great
what?
you gave him great content today for the current, brother.
Well, you know-
That might not be a politically correct thing to say. But you know what? You know what? What impacted people more? Those 13 deaths or the Spurs potentially leaving? Spurs potentially leaving would leave a hole in the
There's no
heart of
price
society.
tag on a loss of life, Mike. If you can save somebody's life, it's immeasurable.
Well, you know what, Mike? When your car washes away in a flood, at least we'll have a brand new basketball arena.
Hey man, I stay indoors during floods, baby. I stay indoors. We're
They're
joined by Michael
flash
Karlis.
floods. That's why they're called flash floods.
You
They
don't
come
know
out of
where it's
nowhere.
coming. You just have a wall of water and then you're gone, bro.
I have the KSAP and Ken's weather
That's
app
not
on
going
my
to save
phone.
you if you get caught in a flash
It
flood.
tells me if it's gonna rain.
Oh, Mike, you don't even look at your phone half the time when you're driving. You're listening to Spotify and singing with Chica in the truck.
But it pops up.
Singing
Flash
was
flooding
it
ahead.
Boys to Men and Color Me Bad,
Oh,
doing the
man.
little dance and the twirl in the car.
Hey, don't say bad about Boys to Men. Michael McCrary of Boys to Men, the fourth member, he came back for the first time in 21 years a couple days ago. Boys to Men por vida. Joined by Michael Karlis of the San Antonio Current, talking to us about the Project Marvel. Personal opinion. You have your reporter hat on, and I was a journalist myself at one point, believe it or not. Personal opinion. Do you want it done or not?
Do I want what done? Project Marvel or just the arena?
Okay, because you'd want to meet halfway. You want to go halfway and say, just build the arena.
Well, and that's what's being discussed now. The strategic pause isn't on the rest of the stuff. It's just the arena. And like I said earlier, if you have the money, if you can afford it, yeah, the basketball arena should be downtown. The best experiences are when the arena's downtown. Like you said, the Final Four at the Alamo Dome, good experience because that arena's downtown. Build it if you can pay for it, and why not get a second opinion on the impacts and whether this is a good financial investment or not.
Okay, so do you want the Spurs to pick that person or Gina Ortiz Jones? Because again,
I don't want the Spurs to pick them. The Spurs.
well, I don't want her.
Already picked their guy.
I don't want to pick. I don't want her. Why? But again, you never answered this question. Why would I believe what her person says?
Because they're not owned by the Spurs.
But if they're
they don't own part of the team. That's why I would.
But if you do the journalistic work and you find out that they are donors, or they are part of a party, or they donate to a party, at some point you're going to find she's not going to go on to the Yellow Pages, right? Which doesn't exist anymore. But she's not going to go on to the Yellow Pages and go, which company should I go? This one looks good. I'm going to personally vet this one, and I'm going to find this company over here, and then this company did this one. She's not going to do that. She's going to go to a political party and say, find me the one that's going to give the answers that I want. Give me the confirmation bias that I want and need as political fire, because one thing I cannot say is I was wrong. So I'm not going to believe anything that her people or her strategic planning group created to come up with numbers. Why would I believe that? Hell, Trump's in the White House right now trying to fudge unemployment numbers. Because he didn't like the numbers coming out of it, so he's firing people who made those numbers.
Okay,
why do I believe it?
Here's why she's skeptical of the CSL International report. CSL International was contracted by the city of Philadelphia to do a economic impact analysis on the proposed new 76ers arena. Okay, that impact report was over 100 pages. The one that they gave the city of San Antonio was 22 pages. Don't you find that suspicious, Mike?
Well, you said 1/4 of the city doesn't know how to read, so I mean, maybe it's because they needed the Cliff Notes version.
Man. Jeez, Mike. Hey, we do have an incoming super chat here that we got to address. Thank you to Sam Salinas. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that in here. He's saying
$10 super chat.
Yeah, go ahead and read it, Mike.
Okay, thank you. It says, I would bet a percentage of native San Antonians who live in places like the Pearl is very low. Same affluent people who economically impact Pearl will do the same for the district. Let me read that again. I would bet the percentage of native San Antonians who live in the places like the Pearl is very low. Same affluent people who economically impact Pearl will do the same for the district. So basically, it's saying gentrification. Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong. Did I read that wrong, Mr. Carlos? He's basically saying that the
No,
people
that's
who would that
yeah.
would benefit would be from the outsiders coming on in.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that argument. I mean, especially people coming in from like New Braunfels and
Mhm.
Bulverde, those people would come. But like I said, I don't know how much of a positive impact it has for the locally owned businesses in Southtown and the surrounding area. Because if you look at these studies on these entertainment districts, what happens is they come down and they usually only spend money within the district and then they leave. They don't really stick around for a long time. Um, so what type of benefit? Who does that benefit if they only spend money within the district? It primarily only benefits the Spurs and the large developers that they're working with to build around the arena. It doesn't really help San Antonio locally owned businesses.
But that's how tourism spots work. You
But it's
know,
not tourism. It's not, and I don't like that. Oh, if we build Project Marvel, it'll be a tourist attraction. There's only 3 sports stadiums in America that are actually tourist attractions where people would might visit the city just to go to that stadium. And it's Fenway, Wrigley, and probably Madison Square Garden. Nobody's gonna travel from like Dallas or Houston or outside of Texas to come see your new basketball arena.
I know, no, that's not the point that they're trying to make. The point they're trying to make is that it complements what's going on with the tourism on the Riverwalk and whatnot. I know this for a fact because, I'll go to Las Vegas, right? Am I a fan of the Las Vegas Knights or the Aces or anything goes on in Las Vegas or the A's when they eventually make their way over from Oakland to Sacramento to Las Vegas? No, but if I'm going to Vegas in June and it's the middle of the baseball season, am I going to entertain the idea of going to an A's game? And the answer is yes. Just simply
Yeah,
because
because you put a bet on it. Because you bet on the game. You just walked across from the casino. You bet on the game, then you're going to go watch it. It's a
well,
little different in Vegas, I
that's the
think.
next evolution because I remember when I was a reporter in San Antonio 20 years ago, I saw all the land that was owned along Westover Hills by casino companies or subsidiaries of casino companies, which are now hospitals. It was designed that way because they thought that MGM could build and Caesars could build casinos in San Antonio. That it was unveiled that would be the area. It would be Westover Hills. But going back into the whole thing about tourism, it's also convention type stuff. The addition of the addition to the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center. I'm going to a convention there with 12,000 people September 14th for my business. So that being said, you look at it as a concert venue, as an area for suburbs to go up for apartment complexes to go up and whatnot. The question that we had from the super chat was about gentrification, and you know what? For so long, everyone's told that gentrification is a bad thing, and sometimes it is a bad thing. But in other times, you know, it is what it is.
One thing that I'd like to talk about or discuss here is the San Antonio Spurs and the trauma that they suffered as an organization when it came from leaving the Alamo Dome to finding a new arena, right? Going ahead and having that whole debacle between the county and the city, right? And they couldn't agree on things. They had to finally agree on a location while having it built, having the new arena built downtown at that time would have made more sense. There wasn't a lot of room to go ahead and get that done. I get all that. And I think what the Spurs are doing this time is coming out outright and talking with the media and saying now, hey, you know what? We're going to go ahead and pump a total of $1 billion into this new venture, putting up more money to go ahead and get a new arena built than they ever had in the past, probably because they know that that location is a prime spot. They want to go ahead and be downtown again. And not only that, but being part of a sports district as well bodes well for the future of that franchise because it's going to be able to pump more economic dollars into the city, and it's going to become a tourist destination, which means that even if you don't care about sports, you're still going to want to be there because it's going to be a sports and entertainment district, which
Mhm.
means there's a lot of things to do and it's going to be easily accessible. I understand why the Spurs are getting in front of this and stating we're going to donate or willing to put in so much money, 500 for this 500 million for a new stadium, or a new arena, should I say, and the rest is going to be pumped in to the actual, let's say, uh, community in different ways, because that bodes well for both the let's say the county, the city, and the people that live here. But more importantly, the important part that I wanted to make here is they're willing to cover the overages, because we know there's going to be overages. So the Spurs are coming outright in front of the media and doing it the right way now, trying to be fully transparent. I think what's happening here with Gina Ortiz Jones is that she wants transparency, even though things have already been laid out. She wants her own independent study. That's the debate there.
Joe, are you saying real fast, Joe? Are you saying that the idea of just building an arena is done? Like that doesn't happen anymore. It's about building these communities and these districts
What they're
around
trying to do
the
is
stadium.
just like we're doing here. You want to build an ecosystem in which you can thrive and live, right? You want to go ahead and have the fans of the San Antonio Spurs come in, watch basketball, and those same fans are going to be like, you know what? I like this new concert that's going to be coming up over here, because they want to go ahead and transform that, was it federal building now, the federal courthouse, into like a music venue. And they're like, what is going to happen? It's going to become an ecosystem where you're watching a Spurs game, but just like much like the Frost Bank Center, they're like, we have these other concerts coming in. They have these other things that they're going to show you that are going to be happening in this sports and entertainment district that's going to be pumping money in left and right. And that's great. That's what the Spurs need and want. If you just build an arena downtown and not do anything around it, it's just going to be an empty arena. It's going to be used, but it's not going to be to the extent that it's going to have if you have that sports and entertainment district built. That's the
Be like,
big argument.
be like having a badass car with a bad engine.
Yeah.
Just is it? And then you talk about that concert venue right there. That bleeds into Southtown, right? Things bleed into La Villita. They bleed into the Riverwalk. It all kind of comes together. Mike, if I don't mind asking you this question, have you ever been to another major sports city to see the way that it functions over there as far as a sports entertainment district before? I've been to the one in Atlanta. I've been to the one in Philadelphia. I've been to the one in Dallas.
What
Have you ever gone to any of these?
what entertainment district is in Dallas?
Well, I mean, the Dallas one is still developing. You have Texas Live across from
I know,
Jerry
right?
World.
So you're talking about Arlington. I wouldn't call that a district. I mean, that's. But yeah, I've been to a
My bad.
lot of sporting events in other cities. I mean, I went to the Mavericks Celtics finals. I used to have growing up. I had season tickets to the Celtics and the Bruins. I've been to games in DC. I've been to games in Miami. I've seen how other cities do it. And a lot of those examples I just gave you, they're not sports entertainment districts. They're actually just arenas in the middle of a vibrant downtown.
Okay,
But
but
I want to go back to the concert venue though that Joe was talking about.
yeah.
We haven't even done the feasibility study on the concert venue, because that old courthouse is basically held up with duct tape. There's flooding in the basement. It's not even clear if it's feasible to renovate that courthouse into a concert
It was
venue, right?
overrun with fleas too. Remember that?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. eh, I don't know how feasible all of this Project Marvel stuff even is, and who's gonna end up paying for it. And when it comes to that 500 million, that economic, whatever the Spurs are saying, that surrounding development, okay, put it in writing. They won't even put it in writing. Mayor Jones asked before the last meeting. She said, "I want, I want this like itemized list of what exactly you're going to contribute to this project." And Bob, the Spurs attorney, he went up there. Well, the way in which it was asked was unclear. Da 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 da. Get it in writing. I think Mayor Jones is being real logical in what she's asking for. She wants it written in writing, what the Spurs are going to contribute. She wants a second opinion on what the impact will be. And to be frank, I think she wants to get through the budget session because, like I said, the city's facing a deficit before you commit to spending money on an arena. And what is the rush? What's the rush? The Spurs are at the Frost Bank Center till 2032. That gives us at least another year to, cross our T's and dot our I's and make sure everything's good to go before we commit to spending this type of money. I think that's a fair argument.
Joined by Michael Karlis of the San Antonio Current. Been following Project Marvel very extensively throughout the past couple of months. Please follow him on Twitter and on the Current as well. I think she's buying time. I think the whole thing is stall. It's delay tactic. It is what it is. You know, the prior administration with Mayor Nirenberg, they had an idea of what was going on. Okay, whether it was public or private, they had an idea of what was going on. And he's outspoken right now. Are you surprised that Mayor Nuremberg is outspoken right now against the new mayor about what's going on with all this? Because there was that interview that News 4 San
Yeah.
Antonio had with Don Harris, where they interviewed both Ron Nuremberg and former Mayor Henry Cisneros about it all, and they're like, "We want the council to move forward. We want the council to move forward." They're basically undermining her at this point. Are you surprised by that?
No, because Ron, I think it's an ego thing, right? It was Ron's idea, right? Ron led the charge, so Ron wants to see it through, and so he can more or less take credit for it. But I want to ask you something, Mike and Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really think deep down Mayor Jones just hates the Spurs and she wants them to leave the city? Because I mean, that'll be the end of her political career. If she's the mayor that oversees the relocation of the Spurs, I mean, do you really think that's what she wants?
Her political career is okay. Go ahead. I'll let you go first, Joe. Sorry.
I think the real thing with Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones is there's a disconnect about what the constituents, the people of San Antonio really want and what they're excited for. She's from here, but she hasn't lived here her whole life. She moved away. So I think there's ultimately a disconnect there that she doesn't understand the way that the community is really driven and works. She's too much from the mindset of cut and dry when it comes to the way things work in DC, you know? And that's what she's bringing here. It's just pretty cut and dry. This is what I want. This is what we're going to vote on, and be damned everything else. There's a lot of other economic impact that's going to happen here in San Antonio. And that's where I think there's a disconnect between her and what the people here want, and the going back and forth with her and the council. There's it's evident that there is a disconnect there of some kind. And it's because she wasn't here her whole life. She moved away, and that's fine. But you have to understand that the way the city works at its core. And basically, at the end of the day, I'm going to call her out and say, she's not puro. She's not one of us, because she hasn't been here as long as a lot of us have.
And that's a very good point, Joe, because she isn't one of us. She isn't. And it's one of those things where I was very flippant in saying I didn't care or did have as empathy for the people who died in the floods. I understand that there's important things that needs to be done for floods and all that stuff. I get that. But at the end of the day, the death that would be remembered more in San Antonio would be the death of the Spurs if they were to ever leave. That was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Gina, the idea that the fact that she tried to move certain things along her agenda, and they told her, what did they tell her, Carlos? They were like, this isn't the meeting for this. You can't do it on this meeting.
Yeah,
she stumbled out of the gate. She stumbled out of the gates. She loses credibility by the day on this whole situation because she stumbled out of the gates with that. Then she called for a strategic pause, and everyone just gave her the middle finger. And 2/3 of the council did anyway. And they said, we're moving forward with this, with or without you. She loses relevancy by the day. So now, whenever she says strategic pause and she's trying to say, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, really, I think she's trying to gain her footing. And I think that she's toast. I think she's done for. I think she's poking an argument with the wrong. You don't mess around with two things in San Antonio. You don't mess around with HEB. You don't mess around with the Spurs.
That's very true. And the zoo. The zoo is another powerful entity. But I agree. I think she is a very smart person. She is not good at politics, and she is very, very much not good at local politics. I mean, look, you have a budget deficit, you have Project Marvel, you have a lot of complicated things going on. The first thing she does out of the gate is makes it almost impossible for other council members to get their council consideration requests in front of the dais. I mean, that's where this all started. She just shot herself in the foot right there. And now, you're right, like calling the vote when she couldn't call a vote, saying that she doesn't need council's approval to go get a second economic impact study. I don't think she's well versed in the office that she holds. And I remember when I first met her, this is way early in the campaign, and I wrote that, hey, I think she's a smart person. I think she'd be a great congresswoman. I don't think she knows what she's running for. And if you watched through the campaign trail, she focused on federal issues and national issues that she has no control over as mayor. So I think there's a huge divide between the rest of council and herself. I'm not even sure her and Eric Walsh are talking to each other based on a conversation I had last night with a source. It She seems to be off on her own, and I don't think she realizes that as mayor, although she is mayor, Eric Walsh and holds most of the power, and the rest of the council are basically on equal footing with her.
Yeah.
And so that's my 2 cents.
One of the things with Gina Ortiz Jones is it's been interesting her and the way that she's had her path laid out for her to become mayor. She ran for office here in San Antonio several times and lost. I didn't believe that she would get the votes needed to go ahead and become the mayor of San Antonio. Yet, lo and behold, she did because it wasn't a big voter turnout. That's neither here nor there. They voted her mayor of San Antonio. She's the mayor of San Antonio now. But like everybody's been saying, it's very clear here that this divide that she has between not only herself but the council as well is going to be something that's going to be played out. Is this going to be her legacy that she's going to leave behind as mayor? Instead of trying to get things done, you're always going to have this pushback from her, because again, it doesn't seem like she understands again the way things work here in small town San Antonio, and she needs to get to know the people and the way that things work here, our community. You need to really know the way the inner workings of the community and its people, and the only way you're going to really understand that is if you've lived here almost your whole life, and she hasn't. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's clearly evident in the way that she's carrying herself as mayor. She's already shot herself in the foot, as you have said. And I think this is just the beginning of what's to come. And unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of, again, back and forth. There's always going to be, I'm going to resist. But you don't understand the way that things work here in small town San Antonio. We're not DC. You can't go with the mindset of a big time politician wanting to go ahead and be on the seat over there. It doesn't work that way here in San Antonio. And we do have some super chats we got to address, Mike.
Mhm.
Here we go. Sam Salinas, thank you so much, everyone, for your super chats. They're greatly appreciated. Sam Salinas says, say it, DC Gina. Thank you. And then we have another incoming super chat. This one's by Jonathan C. We appreciate you, Jonathan, and Sam, and everybody else who's donated today. He says, Gina eats her carne asada with a fork. Hashtag not puro.
She's never stepped foot inside of a Fred's fish fry.
No.
This never happened.
No.
And if those of you giving me crap about being in Conroe right now, I've lived in San Antonio 44 of my 48 years of life. So give me some credit when it comes to that. And I know all the good taquerias in town. Yeah, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 is kind of bringing up the point on his Twitter that Mayor Ortiz mentioned nothing in writing came from the Spurs of a financial commitment for the arena and project. And he posted the letter that was written July 24th by Spurs owner Peter J. Holtz, or one of the owners, rather, the principal owner, talking about where the money would go to. Now, it's not specifically and not itemized, as in specifically this is for that, but it did say $500 million and guaranteed cost of cost overruns for the new arena, $500 million for adjacent downtown development, $60 million in additional community incentives. So I mean,
that letter, yeah, there was a letter, but she requested at the August 6th meeting. So she requested the day before, like a submission to the council, right, of what exactly that meant, and they didn't deliver it in time. Hopefully, they deliver it by August 21st. But then, during that council meeting, the Spurs were talking about something about a $1.4 billion commitment. So the 500 million for the arena, I think that's set in stone. The rest of it is still iffy. And yeah, I mean that's where that stands.
Joined by Michael Karlis of the San Antonio Current, staff writer covering the Project Marvel. Um, you are from Boston, you said?
So well, I'm from Fort Worth. I went to high school in Boston. I went to college, undergrad in DC, and then I moved here. But I mean, I've been in and out of San Antonio my whole life. My mother's side of the family's been here in San Antonio for a very long time. So I'd call me Puro adjacent, but I haven't lived here my entire life. No.
Well,
Um,
you know, being from going to high school over there, you see the jerseys out there. I see the is that a Bruins?
yeah, I got my Wimby jersey too, though.
There you
Game
go.
respects game, you know.
Okay, but you know, I just can't imagine the city of San Antonio without the Spurs. I really can't. And you know, one of the things that Mayor Jones said was, you know, we're the seventh largest city in the United States. We got to act like it. But do you know how you act like it? By keeping your professional franchises. That's how you act like it, right?
Like I said,
Because
I don't think she wants the Spurs to leave because then that's just
I don't think she
that's
gets
her
it.
legacy. Her legacy is Mayor Jones, the mayor who lost the Spurs. I really think she just wants a little more information, things more set in stone. A final cost on the arena. We don't even know how much the arena the price tag is. Is it
Because it's
1.3 billion? Is it 1.5 billion? I'd like to see a rendering of the arena before I'd hand over money.
well,
We don't even
here's the thing. What we do know is that the cost goes up every year. The cost goes
well,
up
that's
every year
fair. That's
because
fair.
inflation is a big deal, and then the inflation for construction it usually outpaces that, especially if there's tariffs going on for steel and wood and all that stuff. It just makes it a lot different. But I can't picture the city of San Antonio. I make the joke on here. Well, it's really not a joke. I personally believe that if the Spurs leave San Antonio would ultimately be just big Laredo. I'd see no difference between Laredo and San Antonio other than one has a border and one has a river walk. Two different types of rivers. But and that's why I'm very flippant about things because it's like I have felt that personally growing up. My favorite football team by far was the Houston Oilers, and it was 1 and 1A for me when it came to fandom, loyalty, and all of that stuff. And I don't think San Antonians have felt that because most San Antonians grew up as Dallas Cowboy fans. But my uncle took me under his wing as an Oilers fan, and it was tragic and devastating when that happened. And
Oh
I don't
man.
think people, yeah, he'll jump back on. I don't think people remember have ever felt that because again, not all Oiler fans in San Antonio back in the day, but it's just one of those things that I look at. I think to myself, I would never want the city to experience that because the loss that we would have as a community if the Spurs were to ever leave would never that's a death in the family that we would never forget. It'd be a community death. And yeah, again, flood things and flood prevention and all that stuff is important. I get that. But at the end of the day, we would remember this death more. We'd remember the death of the Spurs more than we would some stranger down the street.
Yeah, we also have some media share stuff that we got to go ahead and show on screen here. And this is from one of our listeners here. And what they're showing is Philadelphia's new 76ers arena proposal went through an extremely thorough review. And they're kind of showing, kind of comparisons as far as what Gino Ortiz Jones is wanting and what's gone on over there in Philadelphia. The other thing is, this one was sent by one of our listeners, and they're saying, Mike for mayor. Vote for Mike. I will throb for you.
I'm gonna grab a photo of that. There you go.
Put it on his shirt.
Put it on his shirt.
Oh, could you imagine? That'd be your tagline.
Yeah, someone said earlier on the on our chat that I was making Spurs fans look bad by it all. I'm just saying what you all are thinking. I'm just saying what you guys are thinking, and like I said, that doesn't make me a bad person. It just makes me honest. I love
Yeah.
my Spurs. And for those of y'all who give me crap on social media, well, he loves the Rockets, all that. Screw you. How many of y'all have ever gone to Houston Stadium, Joe, and worn silver and black on the fifth row cheering on the Spurs? That shows that I'm not about Houston. Fuck Houston. Hate the city. F
They
Houston.
said how can you say you're puro when you live in Conroe?
Dude. I finally found a taqueria. It's a little town called Shenandoah around here that rivals San Antonio. I'm not saying it's as good as San Antonio,
Yeah.
but it's close. It is close. And guess what? It's right next to Chica's work. Chica's a dental hygienist. The restaurant that's connected to her dental practice is a taqueria that's pretty damn good. It's pretty close to West Side San Antonio tacos. The only difference is, Joe, the tortillas are too small. Like it tastes just like San Antonio, just the portion size is a little bit smaller than what I'm used to.
Torchy's is not
Torchy sucks ass, dude.
tacos, man. It's
Dude,
oh my
okay,
god.
okay.
dude.
We went to Miami and to go visit Chica's daughter, and family trip out there. We went to the Florida Keys, went to Key West. On the way back, they all wanted to have Taco Bell. They were all the kids were like, we want Taco Bell. I say kids, they're all in their 20s. We want Taco Bell. We want Taco Bell. I couldn't do it, Joe. I couldn't bring myself. Now, back in the day when I had my special needs stepson, that's what he wanted to eat. I would force myself to do it. But now that that's not a part of my life anymore, Joe, I can't eat Taco Bell. Chica was joking the other. I don't know if she was joking. We were driving around. I was hungry. She's like, "Let's just pull in here." She wanted to pull into Torchy's, and I told her no. And she was like, "Oh, like laughing it off, like, oh, you're just being silly." I'm like, "Babe, no." Like the San Antonio and me came out.
Torchy's is overpriced bad tacos. They're Austin tacos. It's an Austin-based chain, dude. They have
Yeah.
one right at the corner, right around the corner from where I live, and I will never set foot in a Torchy's ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
The only thing that's good there is the chips and queso.
I don't.
That-
I'll
that-
take
that-
your word
that's-
for it. I never been. And I
That's
don't plan on
the,
going.
the tacos all suck.
I think we cut him back.
JHNSB asking
He's
the question:
back.
Do they
I'm
laugh?
back.
Do they laugh at your 1099s in Miami? Well, that is why I stay in Miami for one day and I go to Key West the other 2 or 3 days. My 1099s are nice in San Antonio, but going to Miami
Oh,
a little different, man. You know, let's play a game of get to know you with Mike Karlis over here of the San Antonio Current. We like to do this with our people who come on for the first time, kind of get to know you type of thing. All right, you're at the gym. You're turning on some music. What are you listening to while you work out?
I actually really like Peso Pluma.
Nice.
I've been really into Peso Pluma lately. I don't always know what he's saying, but I really like how how he does his music. So yeah, that would be my pick right now.
Who was your celebrity crush growing up?
Ooh, who's that girl from the Harry Potter? I don't even
Hermione?
know her name. The British girl.
Oh, Emma
Hermione?
Watson.
Hermione, yeah, I don't know her.
Emma
actually.
Watson. Yeah.
Yeah,
Emma
Emma Watson.
Watson.
There we go. Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
all right,
she's
all
cute.
All right. You are on the what is the Mount Rushmore of comedy movies for you?
Oh man! All right, I'd put Caddyshack up there. Happy Gilmore. Forrest Gump. I don't know if you would call that a comedy.
Well, what happened to Jenny at the end was kind of funny.
I mean, the what? Oh yeah. Hey, Jenny's the real villain in that movie, man. Let me tell
She
you.
was the victim. Come on.
Man, everybody's got an opinion, bro. They're saying Peso Pluma sucks. And we got a coming super chat from Jason Garcia. Oh God, man. Go ahead and read it, Mike.
Says you got to pick one: black licorice or candy corn. Ooh. I'll take
Ooh.
black licorice on that one.
I'll do candy corn.
Interesting.
But you know what? We got to ask him something, Michael. I got to ask you something. Mr. Karlis here.
Yeah.
One of our listeners wants to know, what are your thoughts on Selena La Reina? Because Mike says that her English album was not good and that she was not going to be as famous
Oh, I
as
remember
everybody
this.
else says.
Yeah.
Okay. I said
We got the tape, Mike.
she was not going to be a superstar in English.
You said
might
her
have had-
her English album sucked.
I didn't say suck. I said it was I think I said it was mid.
No, you
I think
said
is
it
what
was
I
not
said.
good.
I said she might have had one or two hits, but she wasn't going to be Whitney Houston. She wasn't going to be Mariah
Oh,
Carey.
Mike.
She wasn't going to be this international superstar. She wasn't going
She
to be
would
what
have been
Shakira
Bad
is now.
Bunny and Peso Pluma before it was a thing, dude. She was
Nah,
already
dude.
on her way.
She was
Already
kind
on
of
her way.
she was kind of mid,
So
dude. I'm
so
sorry.
so
Oh,
Mike, you think
my.
Selena is only famous because why? Because she got shot?
Say it,
Is
Mike.
that your
Don't
is
say it
that
with
your
your chest
argument,
out.
Mike?
Say it with your chest out.
Well, the argument is that she is somebody who it was a regional star. She
No,
got yeah,
Mike.
she got better known after her death. She was a regional star. Well, you want
Well,
proof?
she was still early in her career, but wasn't that English album nominated for a Grammy? Like
I don't think
before,
so.
but
No, so the songs came out after she died. So anything that happened posthumously, I don't think so. Okay, so we talk about. I'm looking at Spotify here. Okay, does she have any songs with 1 billion listens? No. Does she have any with 500,000 listens? I mean, 500 billion listens? No. 400 million listens? No. She's a regional star, dude. And this is 30 years after her death. Her biggest song is Amor Prohibido, 393 million listens. She only has two north of 300 million. And that might sound like, I don't know. I'm just saying,
Look,
she is
it's
big in San Antonio.
Sam Salinas is saying what you're scared to say, Mike.
I'm not afraid to say that English album sucked ass. I don't remember much of it. People are like, that. This is what I always say. When they go, that album was really good. I'm like, okay, name me a song that's not called Dreaming of You.
The pulse
And
of the city tiene miedo. You're afraid to say it with your chest out. What's wrong with you, man? I thought you were puro.
No, I'm just saying she was all right. She was all right. She was cute. She was all right. She was a decent singer. Was she going to be a star? Could she have gotten a couple of hits? Sure. There are a lot of people who have a couple of hits.
The pulse of the
Could
city
she
tiene miedo.
could she have been Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Madonna, all that stuff? No, because you know why? They're like, she had the fashion. Dude, that fashion was trash, dude.
Oh, Mike.
okay, I would say she's very historically significant because she
Because she
walked
died.
so that no,
Oh,
because she walked so Bad Bunny and the Peso Plumas and the Shakiras could run. She was the first Spanish artist, Spanish singer to really break through in the mainstream in the U.S., and that is a significant accomplishment. So I
No,
disagree with you on that,
Gloria
Mike.
Stefan, John Cicada, a couple before her. I mean, Linda Ronstadt. I mean, it happened before. It happened before. I mean, let's pump the brakes on it a little bit. She was talented. She really was talented. I thought that she was more talented. Now, was she talented because of her looks? Was it because of her music? Was it her fashion? A combination of it all. It people identified with her because of where she was regionally. She was huge in South Texas, Coastal Bend. She was huge in California, parts of Arizona, but she was a regional artist, and it's one of those things. And she was big in Mexico, but she was a regional artist. And what I'm trying to say is that I've never bought into the idea of, oh, she was going to be this big massive star. Why? Because her dad said so. Because her dad said so. Is it because Disney said so in a movie? It's kind of like whenever I hear that the Spurs arena and Project Marvel is going to be bad. Why? Because Gino Ortiz Jones's people said so. The people
Look
that
at
she
what
got to
July.
do. See what I did? I brought it back, baby. I
Oh,
brought it back. Full circle. Full circle. I don't know, but that's basically it.
Look at what July 9326 is. She was a pioneer of the culture. She was a pioneer of the people, la cultura, Mike. Come on.
Cultura.
No?
Okay, get to know you with Michael Karlis. We're going to a taqueria. We take you over to the west side. You know, we're gonna go to Tacos Martinez on the west side. It's kind of like the cafeteria style, right? They're making the tortillas in front of you. How they pass inspections, I don't know because they don't wear gloves, and they shake everyone's hands as you go across. You're ordering breakfast tacos. What is your two breakfast tacos of choice? Go.
I get just bean and cheese and then potato, egg, and cheese. Those are or potato, egg, and bacon. Those are. I usually go to Culebra. I live off of Division actually, so I go to the Culebra meat market over here.
Oh, dude, the Clever Meat Bar. Do they have a taqueria
They
inside there?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, they do. Yeah, yeah.
they
Best
got
lemonade in town, I think.
they got rid of the one on Piper's Lane and Culebra Road the other day.
Yeah.
I
The
went there
one
with
on
Chief out
Marco, we
there.
still live ghetto fabulous out here, man. Got the best tortillas in the city. Fresh tortillas. They're hot right out of the machine when it presses them. And they also have a little taqueria inside. You can go get your menudo. You can go and get your huevos rancheros on a Sunday morning when you wake up to take away la cruda. It's great, man. But Mike won't ever go there because it's too ethnic for him.
Where's that?
The Culebra Meat Market over here on Marbach. You ain't set foot in there, bro. Come on.
Wait, the one on Marbach? No,
No.
I've set foot on the one on Petranco, set foot on the one on Culebra. I've set foot on the one on Culebra towards downtown. I don't think I've ever been to the one on Marbach. You know why? I try to avoid exit 7. Well,
You're afraid, man. You ain't one of us, bro. They can sniff at it. They know when you're not one of us. They know when you're not from here, bro.
You make it sound like that's a bad thing.
I'm just saying that's the part of town that I live in, bro. What's wrong with that?
Dude, you live on 151. You don't live
I
on
live
exit
right
7
here.
anymore. You're exit
Marbach
7
Road is
adjacent.
right there next
You're
to me, and
exit
that's where I
7
go a lot of
adjacent.
times.
Jason.
I go to the HEB on Marbach. I go to all the places on Marbach. It's right here next to
You
me,
see,
man.
because you're proof and I'm proof of what happens whenever you grow up in the inner city or you grow up in a place that is working class. You get educated, you make good money. Do you stay? No, you
I'm
go.
still here. I'm still here. You
You're
know
on the
what?
other side
I'm
of
gonna play this
410.
for Mr. Karlis so we can educate him on what happens out here in Marbach.
¿Dónde pegan toda la pura verga? ¡Que sepan a la verga! Mira.
Oh, what's that?
That's the sit go right around the corner from me, man. There's always something busting out here on Marbach. Mike, you can't be around here, bro.
Now,
They know you're not
now,
from here, man.
I have stepped inside. Well, I went to Holmes, so it was exit. It was the
Oh
next high
no,
school
that's
over.
way past exit 7, bro.
Ingram Park Mall is better than Westlakes. Whatever happened to Westlakes Mall? It's gone. One word, gone. Why? Because no one went there, baby. Nobody went there. Mike, tell us how to get a hold of you. What are you working on next? What are you tracking down right now?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm pretty much on the Project Marvel beat and the City Hall beat. You know, you have that meeting tomorrow at City Hall about Mayor Jones's what some people have called the power grab for the council consideration request. So I'll be there tomorrow. And my next big story is about Project Marvel as a whole and whether there's enough funding to get to that $4 billion number and do the convention center, the land bridge, the Alamo Dome, the concert venue, and all of that. So that's what I'm up to.
God, wouldn't that be great, Joe? Wouldn't that be great for the city of San Antonio to be, I don't know, a big city like Gina Ortiz Jones says? We got to act like a big city. Well, you know what? We have to look like a big city. Got to look like one.
So this is going to be your new catchphrase: San Antonio, a big city and a poor town. Michael Jimenez said it.
She might. It's funny. There are how many council members supportive of Project Marvel as is right now?
There's about 7, give or
7.
take.
Now, we talked about earlier how we have 3 sides of town that are disadvantaged in one way or the other, right? But there are some of the council members from the west side, the east side, or the south side who are supportive of Project Marvel. Why are they supportive of it when they have a counterpart who might not be?
Well, the real question is why doesn't council want a second opinion? I mean, don't you personally think that's strange? Why the people who are already there don't want any sort of second opinion or any, do you think that's odd, Mike?
No, man, it's the Spurs. You don't mess with the Spurs. You just keep moving forward, baby. Just keep moving forward. They got us 5 rings, man. The race for Sace. With the house that Wemby built. That's what we're doing right now, man. I think the part of it is that they understand the difference of how this could unravel quickly, because there's another city that'll take the Spurs in a heartbeat. So you just do what you do. This is the business. This is the cost of having a team in San Antonio or any place is to develop a district for them or an arena for them. I don't know. I think that 29-page report. I mean, have they been double spaced? 14-point type could have been 60 pages. Maybe they would have been happy with that.
You know what other city will take San Antonio Spurs in a heartbeat? Seattle.
Yeah. Well, Seattle.
That's
I think
true.
Seattle's getting one, aren't they? The
No.
NBA's
I thought they were adding 2 teams within
Yeah, I
the
think they're
next couple of years.
Seattle and Vegas. I think are the two
Nah,
teams.
Seattle might be on the short list, but I don't know if they're going to make the final cut.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, that was Mike Karlis. How do we reach you on Twitter?
Oh, it's at Michael Karlis on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram at Michael Karlis Reports and at Michael Karlis Reports on TikTok. I'll be coming out with a TikTok about all this Project Marvel stuff if you don't want to listen to the full podcast. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks, guys, for having me. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm a big fan. That was a spirited debate, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
I know he likes getting the snippets of the things that are the most controversial and publishing them, sometimes out of context.
Hey,
One time.
one time out of time.
One time.
Very nice, very nice. That's Michael Karlis, who reminded people the other day that San Antonio is in fact illiterate and poor. Thank you for saying that, because it wasn't just me saying that. What did you say? It was like 1/4 illiterate, 1/6 poverty.
According to the census data, yeah, I mean, a quarter, and this was a study done by the public library here, that a quarter of the city is functionally illiterate. That's not me saying that. That's the San
Yeah.
Antonio Public Library.
What does Michael say? That's actual and factual, right?
Yeah, that TLC said that back in the 90s. That is actual in fact.
TLC.
No, but I look at it this way, man. You know what? I love my Spurs. I want this arena built, and I don't care what it takes to make it happen. Just do it. Just do it.
If you can afford it.
No.
I'd like to do a lot of things, but I can't afford to do a lot of things, So, I mean, if you can afford it, then do it. If you can't, then we need to go and get a better deal from the Spurs, get a second opinion.
Well, it is a better deal because they offered 15% the first time 30 years ago. Now offering over 50% this time. It is a better
It's not
deal.
50%. Of the arena cost, it's like 33%. It's a third, which is about average for what a team usually contributes for a new arena. And some teams pay for all of it, but
Very nice. Well, Mike, thanks for being on today. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to more of your reporting. And Joe did a fantastic job. Spurs regular season starts, I believe, October 22nd against the Dallas Mavericks. That's going to be a nationally televised game. It's going to be the second time in NBA history the number 1 overall pick and the number 2 overall pick start their careers against each other. Got Cooper Flagg taking on Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper, my new son. Mike, thanks for being on. Joe, it's been a blast.
Thanks, Mike.
We got to go back and work on the 1099s and make some money.
Yeah, you know what? Before we go ahead and bring the show to a close, we do need to give a shout out to our sponsor, P.F. Chang's. P.F. Chang's La Cantera, San Antonio's premier destination for dinner, date night, or happy hour. Enjoy one of their signature dishes, such as the Singapore street noodles, sesame chicken, or Chang's spicy chicken, or their infamous Chang's chicken lettuce wraps, which are delicious, by the way. You can enjoy all this while you're dining in an Asian-inspired atmosphere. And make sure to enjoy the new outdoor patio and try some of P.F. Chang's signature cocktails and drinks during happy hour, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. P.F. Chang's La Cantera is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast. All right, there you go. We're out, boys. Have a good one. Mike has to go and, like he says, make more money.
Nice.
We'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.
See ya.